All right, hi everyone. My name is Graham Traylor, and I am one of the regional admissions counselors for Baylor University here in the Houston area. So I mainly work with South Houston area schools, and today I want to talk to you a little bit about finding community while you're in college. And I know as students go through the college search process, there's a lot of factors that go into making a final decision, and that might be finances, that might be location. Certainly, it's going to include looking for a school that offers your academic major and has a strong program there. But I know back when I was going through the college search process, and for a lot of students that I've worked with over the years, one of the key things that can make or break a decision is finding a place where it feels like you belong, and finding a place that feels like a community you can be connected in. So for this presentation, I want to walk you through some different avenues that you can use to find community while you are in college. Wherever you are, I want you to know what that will look like, and maybe what questions to ask to find a place that's going to be a good fit for you in that regard when you go to college. So one of the first things that I want to talk about is some of the programs that universities offer for students before they even set foot on a campus. I know for many of our seniors this year, these are things that they were looking at already. For our underclassmen, juniors, and below, as you start to look at the college search process, this might be something that you look into as far as what does a university do to connect students to campus both before they actually start as a student there. And one of the most fun things in my experience that I know several schools are doing now is freshman orientation camps. So most schools have orientation where you go and you sign up for classes and maybe get your meal plan, everything like that. But what a lot of schools are doing now is a bit of an extended social orientation to campus, where maybe you're staying on campus for a week in the summer, meeting other incoming students, learning about the history and traditions of the institution where you're going. And these can be great ways to start building those relationships with other people that are going to be on your campus, so that you have familiar faces by the time you actually do start there as a student. So at Baylor, where I work, this camp is called Baylor Line Camp. The Baylor Line is one of our big traditions on campus, and I might touch on that in a sec as I talk more in this presentation. But this will be called different things at each school that you look at. I know Texas A&M has Fish Camp, so there are several names for this, but these types of camps can be a great way for students to start that process of getting connected. I know for some of you in Houston area high schools, there may be a lot of students from your school that are going to the university that you choose. But for some of you, that might not be the case. You may be the only one or one of just a few students from your school that go on to the university of your choice. That was the case for me. I really didn't know anyone when I went to Baylor as an undergrad student. So things like Line Camp and some of the other programs that I'll talk through were great ways for me to find those initial connections. So it did feel more comfortable when I was spending my first days on my own on campus. Now, a lot of schools also do something called Welcome Week, and so this would be after you move to campus or to the city where you'll be going to school. So Welcome Week at Baylor generally runs from move-in day to the first day of classes. It's kind of that long weekend where it's just giving you more opportunities to connect with other incoming students before classes even start. Now, normally these are going to have optional activities where they're led by upperclassmen students, but just another great way, like with the summer camps, to have familiar faces when you actually do walk into your classes. Something else to be on the lookout for in the summers, but before students start, would be send-off parties. This is something that Baylor does a great job of in the Houston area because we have a lot of active alumni chapters here. But most of the schools that have a regional presence in Houston are going to have events like this where you can connect with others from your area. So, like I mentioned earlier, some of you might not know a ton of students from your school specifically, but if you look at the greater Houston area, or if you look at pockets of the Houston area, maybe Fort Bend County, or the Woodlands, or the Clear Lake area, there's going to be students from the other schools around you that might be going to the same institution that you've chosen. So these can be good ways for you to connect with them here locally. So you can find other people even that you might come back to Houston with, maybe on long weekends while you are in school. You find people to carpool with, things like that. So look at the ways that you can connect with students even in Houston before you start as a student at whatever school you choose. So now I want to talk a little bit about what you can be looking for on each campus, and maybe what questions to ask as you're going through that college search process and you're looking at different student life elements to get connected and find your place, your community at your school. Now, most schools are going to have a lot of student organizations for you to choose from. And that's a great thing because these are ways that you can connect with other people that share common interest with you. At Baylor, where I work, we have, yes, a lot of students from the Houston area, but we have students from every state in the U.S. We have students from, the last I heard was over 80 different countries. So there are people coming from all different backgrounds and bringing all different interests that they have when they come to campus. So there's a good chance that you can find other people from different backgrounds that maybe share unique interests with you that you can connect with through student organizations on our campus. Now, on each campus, they're going to have different types of student organizations. So some of those might be multicultural clubs, ways that you can connect with people maybe that share a cultural or geographic background that's similar to yours. Or you might get involved in things like Greek life with fraternities and sororities. These are all great ways to make friends, be involved in activities with other people where you can get to know them better. A lot of Greek life organizations might have certain service projects or different themes to each group where you can find one that really aligns with your personality. And then there are maybe student activities beyond just organizations in clubs like Greek Life or multicultural clubs, but other activities that you can be involved in to meet other people that are similar to you, like a choir. Maybe you're someone that's really involved in music in high school, and maybe you've been in choirs or musical theater, but you're not pursuing that as your major in college. There are a lot of students that maybe aren't going to a school of music but still want to be involved in things like that. So as you're looking at different schools, look up, can you be involved in choirs on campus if you're not a music major? Ask questions like that. The picture you see here is of Baylor's men's choir. They travel around the country together. They put on concerts. It's a great way for those students to find others that have that common interest, something that they can bond over with and spend time together building a community within that choir. Now, one of the things that a lot of student organizations like to participate in together would be intramural competitions. Most campuses are going to have an active intramural sports scene. That can be with organizations, or teams can be put together in other ways. So I know for me, I was an athlete in high school, but not on the varsity teams in college. And intramurals were a great way for me to stay active and involved, and was a great way for me to build friendships on campus too. And so, as I mentioned, you will see a lot of organizations put together teams, whether it's flag football or basketball or whatever it is for intramural competitions. But also, what I did when I was in college is walk around my residence hall and find just other students that lived around me and ask them, hey, would you want to put together a flag football team, or would you want to put together a soccer team, or whatever it was. These were people that I might not have known that well before, but they were all interested in playing on a team together, and this was a way that I got to know some more people and build relationships there. So if you're someone that likes sports, likes competitions, and would like to be involved that way, it's an easy way to get other people to get involved with you and stay active on campus. Now, one of the other ways that campuses provide opportunities for students would be through volunteering and service projects through the university. So at Baylor, definitely a lot of our organizations have their own service projects that they work on, but we also have university-wide traditions, one day in particular each semester called Stepping Out. And this is a chance for students to sign up to be sent out on teams on different service projects. So maybe you're really interested in community gardens or working in soup kitchens or doing home repairs, different things like that. You can sign up for a project that you're interested in and be sent out on a team with other students that were also interested in that project. A great way to spend the day making a difference in the community and getting to know some of the other students on campus that maybe share that passion for making a difference that you do. Now, one of the other ways that you'll be able to connect on campus, maybe with the university at large rather than just specific groups, can be through campus-wide traditions. The school that I work at, Baylor, is the oldest university in Texas, so we've had a lot of traditions build up over time. But most campuses are going to have several great traditions of their own that you can get involved in there. And traditions might be anything from a university Christmas party to homecoming parades that you can go to and be involved with the campus at large, and alumni and faculty and staff as well as students. But it also might be things like going to athletic competitions. Baylor competes in the Big 12, which is one of the highest athletic conferences in the country. So one of the fun aspects of student life when I was in college was going to the games and sitting in the student section. And so this was a fun way to just feel like a collective part of something bigger than just what I could do, but I could cheer on the university's teams and be there with the rest of the students and alumni that were coming back for games. But being in the student section, I might run into other students around me that I didn't know before, but after your team scores a touchdown, you're giving high fives to the people around you. It's a great chance to get to know someone else. So there's fun traditions at a lot of schools that are built around athletics. And even if you're not a sports fan going in, I mentioned I was an athlete in high school. I was a big sports fan. I had a lot of friends when I was at Baylor that did things like the Baylor Line, which is a big tradition at Baylor for all of our freshman students at football games, where I might meet someone in the Baylor Line that knew nothing about football, knew nothing about what was actually happening on the field, but they were there because it was so much fun to be part of the collective student experience and just spend that time with other students. So these are all great ways where you can feel a part of the community and get to know people on a personal level as well. Now, one of the other things that you'll want to familiarize yourself with as you're looking at different college options is going to be just the resources that are on campus. So this might go beyond specific events or organizations, but just maybe different facilities where you can meet people. Most campuses are going to have something that they might call the Student Life Center, Student Activity Center. At Baylor, it's the Student Life Center, but we abbreviate it by calling it the SLIC. So that's what you can see some pictures of here. But this was a place where I spent a lot of time as a student. My release, my break when I wasn't studying a lot of times was just go play basketball, and I would jump in on pickup basketball games with whoever was in the gym at the time, and over time got to know some people really well just because we would happen to be in the gym at the same time playing basketball. And so that might be what you're interested in, and you go and play sports with people on campus. There's normally some area like that where you can get involved, or you might really like outdoor activities, and campuses have different opportunities for that. Baylor has a marina on campus where you can take out kayaks and canoes on the river that runs by our campus. So whatever it is, look for those opportunities and ask about how can students stay active socially? What is there to do on campus, even beyond the student organizations, where you can meet other people, again, where you share something in common, whether that's an interest in basketball or in choir or whatever it is, where you have those chances to get to know people on a deeper level. That can help you feel more connected to your campus, and that can really give you the motivation to push through. Maybe in a hard semester, when you have the support system of friends that are also there on campus going through the same class as you are, or a challenging semester at the same time, that can be the help that you need to push through that and reach your ultimate goals. One last area that really I got involved in while I was in college was through faith-based organizations. So you'll see some schools that you may be looking at, like Baylor, have a religious affiliation. So this might be more prominent on some campuses than it is on others. But if you are a person of faith and come from that background, organizations like this can be a great way to get involved and meet other people maybe that share your same faith and have that background in common. But also, these can be great ways to get involved in the greater community beyond just your campus. So actually, when I was in college, I got really involved in a church that was in Waco. It wasn't a part of the university, but it gave me a chance to go out into the larger community and get to know people there. And in some areas, in Waco, with Baylor being a large religiously affiliated school, there are several churches that have large college groups. So I got involved in small groups there and got to know students that way on a deeper level. But whether it's through a religious organization or service opportunities or whatever it may be, I'd really encourage you to find ways to get connected in the city you're in, or small town for some colleges, but beyond just the campus bubble that you might stay in for most of your time. There are ways to get connected in the community there too. So while you're living on campus, I want to make sure you're aware of what some of the opportunities might be for you to get connected that way as well. Most universities are now offering something called living and learning centers. So at Baylor, where I work, we have this as one option where students can live. We do have some of the more traditional style dorms, but like a lot of schools now, we're offering living and learning centers. And these are housing options that focus around either certain social or academic interests, so that everyone living in those halls has something in common. So one of these is an outdoor adventure living and learning center, and students might go on camping trips and hiking trips throughout the year. So if that's something that really interests you, you could be around other students that want to take advantage of those type of opportunities. There's a leadership living and learning center if you're really looking to build your leadership skills. You'd be going through leadership training with the other students you live around. There's also some that are very academically focused. So we have a pre-health living and learning center for students maybe that are aiming to go on to medical school. They're going to be living around other students that are studying just as hard as them. They're taking a lot of the same classes, so they can kind of provide that community that's really academically focused and has encouragement there. But that can also be a great way to get to know people and really deepen the sense of community that you feel when you are working towards a common goal. Maybe you're staying up late together doing homework while you have Netflix going. Whatever it is, I want you to find a place where it does feel like you belong, and it feels like you have people that you share things in common with. So I hope that you find that during your college search, that you find a place where it feels like, yes, there's a place for you and you fit in, and that you find a place where there's a broader, diverse community, but there's definitely a place for you in it. So if you have any questions about what this might look like as you're looking at different college options, whether it's about Baylor, where I work, or just generally about the college search process, I'd be glad to help. Y'all can feel free to reach out to me at 281-414-9801. That's my phone number. I'm based here in Houston. You'll probably see me around at a lot of your high schools. Or you can email me. It's going to be my name, Graham_Traylor at Baylor.edu. You can find me on the Baylor website. But I'd be glad to help however I can. Thanks for watching this presentation, and I hope it was helpful as you start the college search.